She usually pauses it until it's actually 5.
I think they're trying to get
They're
somebody
out.
from, well, they only got that little piece on the east end of Ashland.
Hi, Sue.
And they're trying to get.
Hi.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
They do have some.
Absolutely.
Wow,
I'll
they're
see you.
trying to talk.
Okay.
Yeah. But just to be like a. Just basically,
For the tribe.
yeah, only for the rest of the county. You know, they voted on us,
Oh,
to be that person, to be just a yes vote.
against us.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But you never know.
No.
What's that? Did you hear us? No.
No, we're paused.
So I'm gonna be off island from January 9th to February 10th. And then it'll be just Zoom for probably until April.
Okay.
Unless I really need to get out of the house.
Yeah, I
So.
hear you.
But just letting everyone know.
Got all of your arrangements in place.
Yeah, we gotta figure out what to do with Lucy. That's the last step, but we gotta get a little closer. Yeah. I think I have got a lot of people I can like emergency call, but nobody that's like, we'll be there. So. Yeah, pick a date on the 36th. Like. So then they induce. Hopefully, I don't have to do that. I don't want to do that.
It seems to go a lot longer if you don't let your body decide what day.
Yeah, they're really particular with twins.
Yeah.
Now that we're in Duluth, they're even more advanced care. So,
Yeah.
a little more in your business.
Right.
Mhm.
So,
Ascension rules.
yeah, my sisters and I were all born there. Medicine show. I have a question on how to get confidential papers. If we have something that's confidential that comes in.
Hmm.
Because you can't email that, right?
You can.
Okay, just double checking.
Hmm.
Okay. Just has that tag on the bottom of it then.
Yeah, I mean, make sure in the heading, that it says confidential.
If it goes in the wrong hands, it's supposed to be given back.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Flavor.
He does that.
So at the bottom, so I just wanted to double check that, because that was my only
So they
The one-
read-
Oh, for your.
for receiving documents and,
Yeah,
yeah, because I use my personal. So,
yeah, no, that would be. Have to get someone to mail you your stuff in your mailbox,
yeah.
or just hold it for you.
Yeah, well, it's only a month, we'll be off.
Probably faster to find somebody. He's coming down.
Yeah, I imagine we'll come back at least once. Check on the house.
Well, they did email us all our stuff, like during COVID and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose there's a process. As people are out of town and whatnot. I'm gonna turn the heater off. If that's okay for a minute.
Sure. Okay, it is 5:00 PM on Thursday, December 26th. I'll call this special town board meeting of the town of LaPointe to order. Take a roll call. Mike Anderson,
Here.
Amy Baxter.
Here.
Susan Brenna.
Here via Zoom.
Thank you. And Samantha Dobson.
Here.
Glenn Carlson here. We also have our town administrator, Max Umholt, with us, and a member of the public. Is there any public comment? John?
Just two things. One about affordable housing advisory committee member appointment. I don't think there is anything in our personnel policies or where we have made a decision not to let people who are spouses or boyfriend, girlfriend be on the same committee. We've got a small little group of people, so it's gonna happen. And secondly, I just want to remind them that, the JOMA contract for the ESP grid, remember that we have generators for all these buildings. They have 2,000 gallons of propane for each generator. If it's longer than that, then there's something else going on with Excel's power grid that it's going to be able to deal with right away. And don't forget, in the future, these solar grids will be going down and need repair. The town can barely keep repairs up to the stuff we have now. How are we going to set something up for the future generation where we can't even take care of the stuff we got now?
Thank you, John. Any other public comment? Okay, moving on. We have a proposal for the Horton Group, and this is a renewal. It is more than what we have had in the past because we have now all of the Ferry Line property, both the Island property and the Bayfield property is being covered through the Horton Group. We don't yet have a breakdown of how much this is going to be, what share of the premium is going to be paid for by the Harbor Commission, but anything that relates to the Ferry Line equipment, buildings, property, that will all be reimbursed to the town by the Harbor Commission. They did have some specific things in here that they were wondering if we wanted to take advantage of on the crime. They were suggesting increasing the limit to at least $250,000, given basically we've doubled the size of our financial exposure. And that's at $690 for the year. Marine watercraft hull and protection, that's strictly for the wind sleds. And that is for not when Arnie and Winter Transportation Inc. are doing it, but when our emergency services people are doing an ice rescue. So that's the premium for that coverage. And then excess liability on the, again, same thing. And then they're suggesting that we increase the auto deductible to $2,000 across the board, which will reduce our premiums by about $1,600 a year. So is there a motion to accept the proposal from the Horton Group?
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal but I want to talk about it.
Sure. Is there a second?
A second.
Moved and seconded, discussion?
So my biggest concern, number one concern, is that we don't get duplicated with the Harbor Commission. Well, you know, the vehicles and the properties, whatever, doesn't get duplicated.
Yep.
So we're not double dipping. So is anybody checking, who's checking into that?
Oh, my gosh, yes. Katie Kisner has been working with both the folks at Bremer, the folks at Miffle, and the folks at the Horton Group to make sure that not only don't we have duplicate coverage, and they're confident that we don't, but that we don't have gaps in coverage.
Okay,
That we, you know, that everything is covered by it, either one of these policies, either through the Horton Group or Robinson or West Bend Insurance for most of the Ferry Line vehicles.
okay. So somebody is checking into it. That's
They have
my
checked
biggest
it, yeah.
concern. And then on page 18 and 19 and 20. So for instance, we approved a purchase order just a couple months ago for that new Sea-Doo for
Mhm.
rescue.
Mhm.
I think Jack Nelson is heading that up.
Mhm.
But so would that go under? I've been trying to, like, all these vehicles that are listed on here on page 19. And it's either actual cash value to replace them or the agreed value. No, I don't know who came up with, who decides that. But, I don't know who decides it. But so if that newly purchased vehicles, it says newly acquired scheduled equipment. Is that where that falls under?
Mhm. The new personal watercraft, yeah.
So would that be actual cash value? I forget what that purchase order was. It was 17,000 or something.
17, 19,000. I'll have to take a look at that.
Well, those are the kind of questions that, I don't want to find out, 2 weeks after the thing sinks, that, geez, you guys should have looked at that a little closer.
Yeah.
I don't want to find out then. So that was one of the questions. I just looked at
Yeah, she did ask about that.
their definitions of what, and that they have the definitions for drones. I can see that, that's covered. Those are basically, and then on page 20, what the heck does that mean? Scheduled of vehicles, and it said insures identifier, and there's only one vehicle listed for the insures identifier.
And that's a
The
good
Ford
question.
service van.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't understand. Everything else is listed.
Yeah, insured's identifier.
Yeah, and the only one vehicle is insured
Yeah.
identifier.
That's a bit, yeah.
I don't understand it at all.
I'm not quite sure what that is.
And that's the only thing I found that was a question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Anybody else? Sue?
No, I'm good.
Amy? Okay, so are we going to go then with the increase of the crime limit to 250, adding the marine watercraft hull and protection and indemnity, the watercraft excess liability, and the increase the auto deductible to 2,000? Is
Yes.
that,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, appoint member to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. As I promised at the last meeting, I did reach out to a couple of the members of the committee, and actually a couple of other members of the committee reached out to me. And all of them were unanimous that they had not only no concern about Michael and Katie both being on the committee, but that they thought that he was particularly valuable. So I would recommend that we appoint Michael Kupta to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee.
Do I make a motion again?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to appoint Michael Kutka to the Affordable Housing Committee.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I have a question. Is this a committee that has requirements for residency and non-residency? Is it just anybody can be on it? Okay, just want to double check.
Okay, any other questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And thank you, Michael. Next is consider the Jolma Electric contract for the ESB microgrid. And I did reach out to Bill Bailey And I think I sent everyone
Yep.
the email, but
Yeah.
I'll read it. He says the battery, my questions, last night, the town board considered the contract, but had a couple of questions before voting on it. What sort of regular maintenance is required for the battery? Is this something Jolma can do? If so, can you estimate an annual cost? And second, we understand that Bayfield has recently installed the microgrid. If so, are you aware of their experience? So he wrote back, the battery has no maintenance. Like the solar, there are no moving parts. You just monitor it remotely, and if something doesn't seem right, call Jolma. You have a 10-year warranty on the battery and a 5-year workmanship warranty from Jolma. They can handle maintenance and fix any problems. So there's not like a regular scheduled maintenance program. The County of Bayfield has one microgrid complete and another under construction. We are about to install 27 more throughout the county. This is becoming commonplace, and your system is relatively small with off-the-shelf components. The county's microgrid is at their jail and courthouse, and it is large and much more complicated. The one under construction at the Washburn Highway Garage is still more complicated than your ESB, but a little more similar. Most of the microgrids we will be installing throughout Bayfield County will be very similar to yours, signed Bill. So that answers, I think, hopefully those questions. So is there a motion to approve the contract between Jolma Electric and the town of LaPointe for the ESB microgrid?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract between Jolma Electric and the town of LaPointe for the microgrid.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Can we make it go into our system while it's not charging the battery? Can we make it go into
The solar
Yeah,
you're talking
the
about?
solar power? Does it go into use? Any
Absolutely.
extra that isn't going in the battery?
Storage you're talking about?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, and if the battery's full, I mean, it is running the ESB.
ESP,
And if there's excess, you know, there.
do we get
it's-
credits?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to double check.
Any other question? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I will sign that contract. Next item is adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries, meeting's
What's the
adjourned.
temperature down there?
Don't tell us.
71.
No.
All right.
I have to know.
Happy New
Thank
Year,
you.
everyone.
Happy New Year to you, so.